This news update is brought to you by...
Grab somebody and tell them hello. Your happiness will be connected to flow. Smile and cheer because that is we flow. Grab somebody and tell them hello. With your hands in the air, hands in the air, hands in the air, hands in the air. This is how we flow, yeah. Grab somebody and tell them this is how we flow.
It's Monday, August the 31st, 2015, and this is your Barbados Today morning news update. I'm Emmanuel Joseph. Thanks for joining us. We begin with a call from Prime Minister Freundel Stuart for homes to lead the way in helping to save Barbadian youth from a life of crime, violence, and other deviant behavior. Addressing the final day of his ruling Democratic Labour Party's annual conference yesterday, Prime Minister Stuart said the large investment made by the state in education was no substitute for strong, responsible families.
Interventions by the state, however well-meaning, are no substitute for responsible fathers and responsible mothers, responsible grandfathers and responsible grandmothers, responsible aunts and responsible uncles and other family members. No substitute for strong, courageous and authoritative teachers who command the respect of their students. No substitute for those religious, particularly Christian values, and those moral values taught by our churches, which should be reinforced in our homes and in our schools.
The Prime Minister also noted that all was not lost when it came to young people in Barbados. He was at pains to point out that the majority of youth were pursuing positive pathways.
Fortunately for Barbados, we do still have a constructive and purposeful youth population in the main. Our youth are for the most part doing positive things and making productive use of the opportunities available to them. We are speaking today of those scattered segments of our youth population which have not been touched deeply enough by our massive investment in education or by the human values that have made Barbados the great nation that it is. This is a cohort of the population to which we must all reach out with a view to seeing how best we can, within reason and within existing constraints, minister to their needs and to their requirements.
In other news now, the Barbados Coast Guard vessel HMBS Trident should now be in Dominica to render further needed assistance to that storm-ravaged sister island. The Trident, which left Bridgetown yesterday evening, had on board the Barbados Fire Service Search and Rescue Team, officials from the locally based Caribbean Disaster Emergency Management Agency, SEDEMA, a representative from the Caribbean Institute of Meteorology here, and media personnel. Commanding Officer Lieutenant David Hayward told our own Marie Claire Williams, who's on board, that the emergency team will be conducting further damage assessments and will be there for 72 hours initially, as sister ship HMBS Banfield remains on standby to provide additional help if necessary.
In addition to just taking down people to do the essential thing, we're also taking in a lot of relief supplies. We have water on board. We're going to be getting some adult kits and children kits from UNICEF, about 500 each for the adults and the children, as well as some equipment which came from the Barbados Power to help in terms of generators and to help to restore some needed electricity within that area.
Before the Coast Guard vessel set sail, Chief of Staff of the Barbados Defense Force, Colonel Alvin Quinton, reminded Barbadians that today may be this island's chance to help Dominica, but tomorrow it could be Barbados' time to seek assistance.
I have every confidence that you, the members of the Coast Guard, you have the capability, you have the capacity, and indeed you have the competence to execute this mission to the standard that we expect, standard of excellence.
Meanwhile, rescue teams worked yesterday to reopen roads to remote communities in Dominica after the tropical storm Erika caused flooding and mudslides that killed at least 20 people and left more than 50 missing on the island. In a national address late Saturday, Prime Minister Robert Skerrit said he was declaring disaster status for 9 local areas and also appealed for international aid.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
Secure your future, be financially strong. Since 1983, we have been there for you. A smart range of products, great tax benefits. We're the solution to your hopes and your dreams. The Barbados Workers Union Cooperative Credit Union. The Barbados Workers Union Cooperative Credit Union. Humble beginnings to smart loans, smart savings. Save smart and borrow smarter. That's the move for me. Stability, prosperity. We're the solution to your hopes and your dreams. The Barbados Workers Union Cooperative Credit Union. The Barbados Workers Union Cooperative Credit Union.
Got it in my hand, yeah. My Barbados, my bank. Got to understand, yeah. My Barbados, my bank. Ain't nothing like a core bank spare. None of them others just can't compare. You just got to love that taste. It's the world-class thing this land makes. Whether I'm cruising or at a bar, whether I'm at home, my bank spare is never far. For this blessing, got to give God thanks. My Barbados, my bank.
Turning now to more news from the region, the British government has been keeping a close eye on the crime situation in Guyana and plans to render assistance to help in that regard. The British government is also supporting a gun amnesty in that Caribbean state.
British High Commissioner to Guyana Greg Quinn has noted that the British government is well aware of the recent hike in crime in Guyana. He said while his government has already been helping Guyana to fight crime, he believes more needs to be done. So, his government plans to boost their assistance to help fight crime here. He spoke with Nightly News on Thursday.
The government for quite some time about assistance that we are already providing, and we're now looking at what additional assistance we can possibly provide to help address the concerns which they have raised with us.
Pressed to disclose some of the ways the British will assist Guyana to fight crime, the British High Commissioner said that he will not let the cat out of the bag now, but he hinted at a few.
There's a variety of things in terms of, and I'd rather not go into too much detail on some of that, but it's a variety of things involving policing, investigation, training, equipment, that sort of stuff. So it covers the whole range of, as you know.
In the meantime, the crime rate, which took a turn for the worse in February of this year, has seen more illegal guns being used. To get a grip of the situation, Public Security Minister Kemraj Ramjatan has recently announced a gun amnesty which is to take effect from September 1. The British government is also supporting this amnesty.
And on the international scene, an emergency meeting of EU ministers is to be held in Luxembourg next month to address the huge surge in migrant numbers. Britain's Home Secretary issued a joint call with her German and French counterparts for the meeting within 2 weeks to set out a concrete plan to deal with the large numbers of migrants entering Europe. Theresa May has also called for the reinstatement of the original free movement principles, meaning the freedom to move for a job. Meanwhile, police in Austria say 3 Syrian children and their families who were rescued from a minivan containing 26 migrants have disappeared from the hospital where they were being treated.
This Spanish minivan is a long way from home. It was stopped by police in Austria near the German border. It was carrying refugees and migrants from Syria, Afghanistan and Bangladesh. It's not very big. Imagine 26 people crammed into the back of this van. It would have been hot and stifling. You can still see some of their clothes. In here were 3 little children from Syria, 2 little more than babies, about 1 year old, and 1 a little girl of 5. What condition were the children in?
They were so dehydrated in such weak condition that they maybe only would have lived for a couple of hours. They wouldn't have survived the trip to Germany.
Where are the children now?
They have disappeared. They left the hospital with their parents, and they are now in a good condition, and the main thing is that they are still alive.
The 29-year-old driver is from Romania. He's currently in detention. If he's charged and found guilty of people smuggling, he faces up to 5 years in jail.
And that's where we end our Barbados Today morning news update. However, you can join us again this afternoon. Until then, remember to log on to www.barbadostoday.bb, subscribe to our e-paper and email updates, or like us on Facebook. You can also catch us on Izumi Media in bus terminals or screen play at supermarkets and gas stations near you. Also tune into Channel 101 on Flow TV and to Mix 96.9 FM to get all the latest news and sports. I'm Emmanuel Joseph. Have a fantastic day.